everyone, welcome back to another video on Read Between the Grinds. Today is a very fun day because my husband and I are headed to a local beach near us. We're headed up there to meet up with some friends just for the weekend. It's just a quick trip, but that means that I'm going to be reading. So I already have a couple books downloaded on my Kindle. I'm ready to go, but I'm going to take you along with me while I read a couple books this weekend. So the first one on the list is one that I'm actually already 65% of the way through, and that is It's Not Her by Mary Kubica or something like that. I think she wrote Local Girls Missing or Local Woman Missing, which I read a handful of years ago and I did like, and I am really enjoying this so far. It's not groundbreaking necessarily, but it is really really fun and captivating, and I've been reading it really fast because I want to know what happens. So that'll be really fun. I expect to finish that honestly probably on the drive up there. And then what I'm really excited about is Yesteryear. So I have been hearing so much about this book. I've been hearing a lot of mixed reviews, and my friend lent me her copy, and she had some mixed reviews on it as well. So she said she was very excited to hear about my thoughts. I'm excited to find out my thoughts about it because it is probably one of the most popular books right now. Every time I go on anywhere, this is the one that people are talking about. So I am aiming to at least finish It's Not Her and read this book this weekend, but who knows? We'll see what happens. So come along with us. Okay, I just finished It's Not Her, and I can't say that I loved it. It might be a 2 or a 3 star, I gotta be honest. I think that the concept was really fun, and it's a good thriller. Like, it definitely keeps you turning the pages and stuff, but I don't know. The ending I just didn't love, I have to be honest. I think if I remember right, it's been so many years since I read her other book, but I think I felt the same way about her other book. So it's fine. It's a good thriller, but not a groundbreaking book by any means. So anyway, next I'm moving on to Yesteryear. We still have like an hour left of our drive, so we'll do that. Okay, this is a really interesting book, and I understand why it became so popular and like buzzworthy. It is about a woman who is a social media trad wife, and she's kind of just like living her perfect life, and suddenly she gets transported back in time to 1855, where she kind of like has to be living the life that she kind of pretends to live in a way on social media. I think it's gonna have a lot of really interesting conversations about, oh man, religion and our current culture and all of that. So I understand why it's so popular right now. I am curious to see what happens though, because I'm about 75 pages in, and we're kind of going back and forth between her current life, her real life, and then the past where she gets transported to. So very interesting so far, and I'm interested to see what else happens. Hello. I'm actually home now from my short beach trip. We had a great time. I ended up reading about half of this book when I was on the beach. Of course, I wanted to hang out with my friends, talk, we were doing stuff. So I didn't have as much reading time as I thought I might, which is totally fine. That's the whole point. But I am going to finish this now that I'm home and have a little bit of free time today. Like I said, I think I'm about halfway through. I read a little bit on the drive home yesterday, so now I'm a little over halfway. I will say, and this is going to be spoiler free, I appreciate the satire of this. So I get what she's doing with it. She's definitely modeling it after the influencers like Ballerina Farm, the trad wife kind of influencers who sell things and promote this lifestyle that we all can have our own feelings about that. But I appreciate the satire of it. I do appreciate having this book from the point of view of the trad wife. And I appreciate our main character, Natalie. I appreciate her intelligence and how she's kind of like, she orchestrates everything. Like her husband is almost, and these are not really spoilers, but her husband is almost comically dumb. Like it's almost like just too much. But again, it is satire, so I appreciate what she's doing. I am a little over halfway through, and I'm liking the description of how they got to the point where they're at in current times, like how they got the farm, how they started building, or how she's going to start building her social media empire, I'm sure soon. And then when we go back to the 1850s, where she has maybe time traveled, I don't know. It's really interesting because there's not really a clear answer on that yet. I'm less interested by that plot, and I'm just not really sure where she's going to go. I get where she's going with it, but I'm not sure how she's going to end the book, if that makes sense. So I am interested. I'm enjoying it in terms of I want to keep reading and know what happens. So we will keep doing that. All right, so I have finished Yesteryear, and I do definitely understand why some people don't love it. And I've talked to a couple friends who have read it, and I think I'm kind of understanding why people are not super into it and why I ultimately did like it. I gave it 4 stars. Let me start by saying that I think if you have been hearing a lot of the buzz around this book, particularly in the fact that it has like kind of a twisty ending, I think you're going to be disappointed. And I say that because I've talked to multiple people who had that expectation going in and then were disappointed. I did not have that expectation. For some reason, I had been hearing a lot about it. I knew that it was really popular, but I heard nothing about it other than that it was about a trad wife. So I didn't have that expectation going in. And by the time we got to the end, I was like pleasantly surprised by the ending, I think. Did I know what was going to happen? No, actually I didn't. I've talked to other friends who've been like, yeah, I called that from the beginning. This one I really didn't. I was kind of just along for the ride, which is always fun. I don't want to give any spoilers, so I'm not going to talk too much about the ending. All I'm going to say is that I do think it was an interesting satire. Do I think it's the best book I've ever written? No, probably not. Do I think it's accurate in everything? No, and I don't think it's supposed to be. I think our author, and I think this was her first book, I don't know, I might be wrong, but I think the author was just setting out to write a satire about this trad wife influencer revolution on social media and how our country, I'm gonna speak from a very like USA centric stance right now, but how our country is turning toward those like traditional ways of life in a lot of different and complex ways, right? They're not all the exact same, like for a religious reason or whatever. So that's all I'm going to say about that, because I don't think we need to get into that conversation right now. All I'm going to say is that I do think it was a really interesting satire. I loved the father-in-law running for president and how like funny that was, not funny, just a lot of parallels to our current world. And I ultimately liked the book. I thought it kind of also was a really interesting look at how your life can kind of spiral out of your control, even when you think you have everything under control, and how what you think you want and the dreams that you think you have for yourself are not always attainable, or maybe once you have them, they're not what you think they are. And so I think that's an interesting comparison then to social media, and how these lives of people that we see are obviously not, we're seeing the highlight reel, of course, we all know that, but we think that these people have such wonderful lives, and of course they probably don't. Maybe they do. I mean, good for them if they do. But there's this parallel between what social media shows us, but also these like ideas that we have about our future and creating this perfect life. She talks a lot of it in the book. Our main character talks a lot in the book about being perfect and having a perfect life and being a perfect person, and she can just do everything. But we see pretty quickly that is all not just like a facade for social media, but literally a facade in her own life, something that she maybe even believes but doesn't. It's really interesting. And I did really appreciate the look at this woman's brain and how it kind of just takes a turn. So anyway, overall I enjoyed it. This really wasn't a beach vlog entirely. It was really more of just a reading vlog, but I was glad that I got to read like half of it from the beach. And now it is 4th of July weekend here when I am filming this. So I'm about to go eat some hot dogs and maybe watch a firework or two. And that's about it. So thanks everyone for joining me on this beach reading vlog, whatever. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope where you are, it isn't sweltering hot. Unfortunately, it is where I am. I'm dying. I'm sweating all the time. Someone murder me. Okay, anyway, goodbye. Wait, happy reading. I forgot to say that. Oh my gosh, is it even a Read Between the Grinds video if I don't say happy reading? Bye.